Welcome to the Hampshire 1900 start for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. And we're picking up on the 8th of August 1935, which is not exactly the date that I wanted to start on, because originally I was going to play through until the new spring of 1936. But there's a couple of things that have happened which makes this date very, very necessary. The first thing is that our farm is now ready to go, so we need to start setting up our farm here so that we can get a harvest next year, and that also applies to Warstock. But more importantly, as is implied by the title, we are going to set up our first steam train, which is going to be quite interesting. But first things first, what I need to do is, if I show you the farm, I think all the fields have been set up in this area. Actually, we can speed the game up now. And what I want to do is we're going to purchase some sowing. What's the best sowing we got? We got this one, 22. This is brand new. This is the STZ 5. You've only got a top speed of 9. You've got a top speed of 22. I think what we'll do is we'll give these a go. They're brand new. We're only paying rubles for them, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. I don't want to spend too much money on the get-go because I've got no idea how much my the actual cost of the train's going to be. The rest of the area here is pretty well kind of stable. I think we've got, and we're still building this, which needs to be finished, but I think we got a fair amount of food in here because we've now got a crossover. We've got food in here which should keep things going quite well. We've got a new vehicle type. Oh, that's just the ship. I say generally the rest of what's going on in here is pretty stable, and the game's just kind of playing catch up at the moment. Hopefully, as I say, if we can get this distribution office here, if we can get this farm up and running in next year, that should make a very, very big difference. Now, if we come over to Eastleigh, now I won't talk anything about the rail setup, we'll come back to that. If you watch the previous part, you'll be aware that we had a little bit of a problem here with respect to recycling. I think we've managed to get it under control now. You can still see that we've got 21 vehicles to export. That's because we've had a wave. You can also see in here now some combine harvesters. And the other big event that actually happened was that we've now got our separation plant up and running. It's dealing quite well with what's going on, but we haven't quite yet. We've got 50% ash here at the moment. So eventually we will probably have to start planning an ash farm out here. Deal with the ash, but I think at the moment this is well under control. What I've done is I've put this dump here so that we, rather than actually we can change that as well, just to make sure that that goes in the right direction. It's very important when you work with waste that you have directional battery connections so that things don't recycle backwards and forwards, because obviously mixed waste is a generic thing. So this is going to be our kind of our drop-off point here, which we can then use. Eventually, once we've unlocked some of the separation stuff, we can get kind of start thinking about actually recycling, but that's not particularly that important. I say rest around this area is going reasonably okay. You can see we've got this area here is filled up. So we may need to start thinking about expanding our kind of storage in this area as well. Again, although to be honest, I am now starting to move towards thinking about upgrading this into a proper food and alcohol production, possibly out in this direction, so it's away from our main area here. So that's something for the long term. Now, something else I'm starting to think about is maybe it's time to start developing Southampton as our next kind of major town. But we still got a lot of things to do at the moment. Oops, thank you, game. If we come over to Warstock, one thing I do need to... Oops, the game's actually finished. Look at that. This has now got power. Yeah, I was about to say that we need to keep an eye on this so that this actually gets finished as well, but we don't need that. And what I'm going to do here is exactly the same as what I've just done. We're going to buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. I do need to make sure that all the fields have been picked up well. Some of these fields aren't as efficient as I thought they'd be. But that's okay. We can live with that. We don't seem to have these fields connected. Let me just make sure. Field is not assigned. It's probably down to range actually. Let me just check. Add those. That one, that one, that one, that one. What this will do is it will give us the necessary crops to actually start bringing in online our well, we can use them up here because this this grain storage has a habit of running out. You can see that we're kind of not getting there, so we can get the extra grain in there, or not grain, crops. And of course eventually when we get this area up and running, we're going to need crops to be brought over to here as well. Now the other major development is over here, the fact that we've now got this area operational, and we should have some, we're not getting the workforce in here that I was hoping for, so it's a little bit risky. But what we're going to be doing now is increasingly trying to get our coal mine online. I think we're still bringing in the, yeah, we've only got 6 out of 35 at the moment. And I don't think we're really getting the workforce in here. I don't know if we've got a few over 20 ones. We're allowed traffic jam. Okay, yep. So this will need to be built up over time by getting more workforce into here. You can see I've planned a couple more residential blocks here. And you can see, wow, traffic. So that is the introduction. Now we're going to start talking about trains. And now one of the reasons for the slightly long introduction is that it says that's not assigned. It should be assigned. Oh, come on, game. Stop messing me around. What's going on here? I need that. Why can't you build that? I wonder if I've isolated the... Okay, I did mess about do some signaling here. Let me just see. If I made a mistake with the signals. Yeah. Have you picked up? Yeah. Just make sure we picked up the 2. Yeah, a bit of a mistake on my way, and it's my own fault because what I did is I tried to kind of cut down the load on this video by actually putting in the signals. Because of course we need the signals so that our construction trains can carry on working. So we're going to need to wait for this guy to come down. Yeah, this was a bit of an oversight. But just to show you what I did is I've made up all the signals here. And we've now got kind of the signals into here. I did these side tracks simply because I thought it'd be easier to get this set up to get go. What I've done is I've kind of done some of the signals through here so to allow the trains to or the construction train to come down here. Plus, because the fact is what we're going to be doing is sending fuel from here over to Eastleigh. And what I've done here is I've created this junction here And what I will draw your attention to is, which I mentioned way back in a long time ago, is we will be using left-hand drive. But what I've done now is, because we've isolated this into here, the construction train can come through here without interfering with the other bits and pieces. Let me just check. Yeah, I must admit, putting in the left-hand drive was a little bit more awkward than I thought it would be. If we can now get back to what? Okay, he can't find his way back now. I messed up the signals again. He should be two directional. Up. We need that. That should get him. Oh. Yep, he's now done this. What that means is we can now think about the first step in getting the train. But before that, I just want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. What we're going to be doing is we've now got fuel into here, which is a bit risky because there's a risk of fire. We've now got this area here. And then what we're going to do is pick the fuel up from here, and we are going to deliver it to here in Eastleigh. So again, if I just show this, I've done the signaling here, which will allow us to come into this depot here. And I think I've signaled it all up correctly. Well, we're going to find out anyway. The other thing I was doing down here is I've laid this track here to go this way, so that we can do the construction that way. And what we've got out here, one thing that has shown up now, just to draw your attention to this, I wonder if this is actually a bit of a problem here. Let me just, oops. No. I'm not exactly sure why that's saying that there's a power break there. Is there any track here that... Not that it makes any difference at the moment. I'm not exactly sure why that's saying that there's no power, but there's not a real big problem here, because eventually we will be upgrading this track. Though, you just remove these signals just to... And so that's disappeared. I just wonder if it's... Yeah, I think it could be related to that. Let me just see if there's anything else. Okay, I don't want to go over that. Okay. So it is... There is something in here that's causing a chain signal. Yeah, see, so the moment we put it in... Well, we'll worry about that later on, actually, to be honest, guys. It could be down to the fact that there's no substation connection over here. But we're going to be running coal-fired trains anyway, so... And we won't be using this rail distribution office anyway as well. So I've signalled up this area, but... The line I want to check is over here. Yeah, we built this now as well. We need to put chain signal there. Chain signal there. And we're going to put one there. And then I'm going to put a semaphore that way. And a semaphore that way. Just to make these signals active. Now, I'm just going to talk about what I've got to plan. See now, and this is quite an important decision that you need to make when you are considering setting up a rail distribution network, because we will be using this rail distribution office. Now, especially when you're moving critical resources, it's very important that your rail distribution office is close to the source, not the sink. The reason for that is that, if I kind of try and explain it to you, is that when the conditions for the fuel to be supplied to Eastleigh, the train has to will outrun to the source, which of course will be over here. Now, the closer that is to the rail distribution office, the better your level of response. And the reason for that is, if you imagine that, say, we were using the rail distribution office in Eastleigh, and then it suddenly decided that it needed to refill the tank in Eastleigh, it would have to come all the way across the map from Eastleigh up to here, before it even picks up the fuel. That means that, say, for example, the tank in Eastleigh was only running at 30%. There's a possibility, because of the long outward journey, that would run out of fuel, because it says I need to be refueled, but because the fuel supply is getting critical, but the train's got to run all the way out here to pick the fuel up to go all the way back. Because when you've got the rail distribution office close to the source, the outrun is a lot quicker, which means the fuel gets delivered quicker to the remote location, because the return journey after you've delivered the fuel is basically not part of the delivery mechanism. It's just the train returning. And of course, at the moment, we're going to be running one train, but if you've got multiple trains, if the condition is triggered before the first train gets back, another train can be dispatched and sent out. So the first thing we've got to do is buy a train. Oh yeah, the other thing I also want to mention is that the top speed of our track here is 70 kilometers an hour. But if we go out across here, you will find that there's bridges like these on the track. Now, if we come to these bridges, this one here has got a top speed of 135 kilometers an hour. What we need to do is get a train that will take advantage of some of these bridges to get out to where we got to go to faster. Hopefully that makes sense. We still haven't built that. Where is the related vehicle? Come on. Where are you? Oh, he's on his way. Okay. Because I need this built. But first thing we got to do is get the train here, which to set up the line. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here. We're going to purchase a steam train. We're going to start by taking a look at what's available. Wow. Okay, we got loads and loads of steam trains, so we don't need a workshop. In fact, probably the workshop steam train doesn't probably add that much. It's basically, we're working with the in-game steam trains, which is not a surprise. So what we're looking for is something that's not too expensive. It's got a reasonable top speed. Got this one here. It's 176,000 rubles. I mean, the power ratio would be quite useful. We got one here, 125. The steam SPG, it's got quite a lot of power as well. These are 75, so I don't want that. I quite like this one. Actually, let's sort by speed and see what we got. We got the PM3 here, which is 176,000. This one's 130. We're not going to run a very long train, so I think maybe we'll get the PM3. What colours does it? Okay, we're going to get a PM3 Sloco. And then, of course, what we're going to need is cargo, not cargo cars. We're going to need cargo wagons. We got fuel here. Now, this has got a maximum speed of 65. This is the one that's available in the DLC. I'm going to take a look at the workshop. I must admit, I don't really want something with 17 kilometers. We got here. We got this one here, 25 tons. This carries 50 tons of fuel. That might be a little bit much. Now, bear in mind that we only can have a maximum length of train of 150 meters. If we wanted to move 200 tons of fuel, we need 4 of these. These are 9 meters long. I think what I'm going to do is, well, to give a bit more flexibility, because these are half the price of these. Rather than buying 4 of these, we're going to buy 8 of these. Now, that may seem a bit odd, but the reason for that is that we are going to be moving liquid fertilizer once that mechanism is done as well. So this one will go, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. Now, the next thing we got to do is get the PM3, and we've got to send you to the depot. Oh, there we go. I've got our first train out. Just want to check these signals. Yeah, you need to be a mixed signal. You need to be... That's better. Because this train has now got to go to the border to pick up these cart wagons. Okay, so what we've got to do now is, this is where part of the fun of the game is. You've got to come here, you've got to pick up wagons, and you've got to, wait, get out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. And we've got to deliver you there. Now there's a good chance this train's gonna... Okay, game. Oh, he's gone for fuel. Okay, so he's decided he wants to go to fuel. That might be a bit of a problem. I should be able to get back to... Must admit, this was unexpected. But it's good, because you have a full load of coal for the first trip. And of course he can get into here, which is what I kind of half surmised when it comes here. Now what you'll see here is you can only move 3 at a time. Okay, thank you, game. What he will do now is he will go down here. Now bear in mind that he may get into conflict with the rail construction thing, because I haven't signalled all this at the moment. But I'm not going to be too strict with respect to the signalling. But what I am interested in is whoops, is whether he can get into here and back again. 2, 3, and of course what I did is I put this bit in here so he can go back to the border. Anyway, so what we're going to do is just leave him there chugging around, because hopefully guy out here would have done what he needed to do. So we're just going to put the chain signal there, chain signal there, chain there, and just to be on the safe side, we'll put you there. And of course we will need a put you there, because the and what we can do now is put a chain signal there, put one there, put one here, and we will also, there's the other thing here, put one there on each side of there. I think we can possibly get away with that for the moment. It might cause a problem later on. but we need to make sure this is out of here. I mean, we will have to tidy this up a little bit more later on. Kind of break this up a little bit as well, I think. Put you there, and possibly put you there. Now by doing this, what I'm doing is I'm actually putting the construction train to obey the rules of the road up here, because the construction train now shouldn't have anything to do. No. And what I want the construction train to do now is he should be able to get out of here because of the crossovers. Okay, road does not exist. Okay, so what's causing the problem here? You should come there. You should be okay. You've got two directional there. Should have two directional there. Let me just, maybe it's a problem up here. We should be able to make this into you should be able to come through here down into there. We know you can get to there, to there, through there, through there, through there. I think we're going to change you to that. Ah, this is the wrong way round. Should be that way round. That should now fix it. So let me just, part of the fun and joy of laying your first rail tracks is quite literally trying to do this. See if we can get this done now. Okay, so you're going to come out and now make the connection to here, and then that will give the guy something to do. Just want to check the signals on the what we call it. Let me just see. Just want to make sure we've done the signals through here. All right. Yep. Okay. Right through to there, to there, to there, to there. Okay. Have we now brought in all the? Sorry about jumping across around the map a bit, but I mean you can see here while we're passing through. This is a far more active separation plant. We still got a little bit of metal scrap and construction waste here. We're probably going to need to kind of get rid of that. Do need to keep an eye on this, because the problem with the separation plant is if the separation plant fills up, what's going to happen is that this will then stop, and then that will cause a backlog. That's another reason for building these. Okay, where is the border crossing? Okay, what we're going to do now is find the train. Where are you, train? Wherefore our train. Right, so we've now got this here. I just want to check the setting here. Yeah, we'll leave it at 150 at the moment. That's good with one car wagon here. So what we're going to do now is we're Where's the fuel? Get you there. You're going to pick up fuel, and then you are going to go all the way to Eastleigh. I've got a feeling it's going to be quite a long haul, and you're going to drop off there, unload fuel. Let's pause the game on. So we're going to put 300 tons in. I think what we'll do is we'll go for 60%, because that will mean that when it gets down, if it fills, because what's going to see, because what happens with trains is it will take its maximum load out because it's empty, but whenever it beats the refuel level, what it will do is say, right, I've now got to fill this back up again. So if we leave it at 60, what that will mean, actually, I think we'll start at 50. What that means is that the train will try and fill up the entire fuel depot, but what will happen is that once it gets to 50%, then it will only take 150 tons of fuel. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so the train's on its way. You can see here he's got his full load. So he is got the capacity for 200 tons of fuel. And so what he's going to do is just run through. Let's just move that over there. Probably drag that down a little bit. We don't need the full size map. So this is our first little train. Just minimize that so we can get a good view of the train. Now, I am going to follow this through for the first round trip, just to make sure that this will actually go. If I maximize now, what you'll see is this will pick up 200 tons of fuel. You can see this here in yellow is the actual fertilizer plant, which we're going to need. So we've got 200 tons of fuel. Get rid of that. Now we're coming up to our first bridge. At the moment we're doing 70 kilometers an hour. You can see the speed has spiked to 90, but now it's slowed down to 70 again. So this is where you get a little bit of speed advantage from the bridges. I mean, if you wanted to be really sneaky, you could build a viaduct and have an elevated train system, but that would be very expensive to build. You can see we're chugging along at a nice maximum speed of 70 kilometers an hour at the moment. And bearing in mind that we're actually on maximum speed of the game. And this is a very good example of what I was saying about the fact that you need the rail distribution office close to the source. Because you can see it's going to take, well, you can say it's the 18th of December now. So we'll see how long it's going to take the train to get to Eastleigh. And probably say we started on the 17th of December. So we're going to go here. The encouraging thing is that the game actually believes that there's enough space there. So you can see we just got a little bit of a speed up there from that viaduct. Now the next thing I want to talk about while this is actually running is that eventually we are going to have to upgrade all this track. And I think this is going to make things very, very interesting. We're losing a little bit of speed on the upgrades. So upgrading this track while keeping this functioning service going is going to be quite interesting. Yeah, this is possibly sedate, isn't it? 70 kilometers an hour. I think it's still acceptable to have wooden tracks where there's going to be a lot of traffic, like close to the borders and things like that. So we're going to be okay from that point of view. We've got another viaduct coming up here. I think this is the run down to, I think in real life is Bursledon, where, and this, I think this is the River Hamble, and you can see now speed of pickup. We've got to just 112 kilometers there, back down to, so you can see it takes a little while for it to lose the speed. So we're still kind of running at 80 kilometers an hour there because we've got a little bit of momentum. So it took a little while for the train to actually lose that speed. So we did get a little bit of an edge there. Alright, well I think we're just coming in towards Southampton because there's all the construction for the highway bridges. So we're going to come up here. It's really nice to see that we got a full load of coal, and it's interesting that this has probably got more than enough coal to kind of for several round trips. So we're going to go that way. And got one more viaduct for a little bit of a speed up, so it's only a short one. I don't think it's going to gain that much speed on this. No, only got up to about 80 because it wasn't that long. And that's interesting that it chose to go through the rail distribution office. That means there might be something wrong with the signals in this area, but at the end of the day, it's not important because we're only going to have the one train. We're probably only going to have the one train for some time. So if we come in here, he will deliver the 200 tons of fuel, which should be more than the 50% payload. Look at that, a nice flow of fuel going in there. Now comes the sticker to see whether the train can find it, is happy about finding the way back. I'm not going to follow it all the way back to the station, but I just want to make sure it gets out of this tangle of... See, it's going back the right way. So there's obviously something it doesn't like about these signals in this area. And then it's going to go that way, and it should quite happily trundle all the way back across the map. So that's our first train. Look at that. Actually, I think that's got to be the thumbnail. We just get here, Control G, see if we can get a nice kind of close-up picture of the train with Eastleigh in the background. Oh yeah, that's got to be the thumbnail. Okay, Control G, back off again. So that train go its own way. Right, let's just have a quick look at these signals here, because as I say, I didn't kind of signal up everything. Okay. Yeah, I think what we can do is we chain that there, put you out that way, chain you in that way. Got a footpath there, which is going to be a pain in the neck. Chain you that way, chain in that way, put you there. Oops. I think this bit we can just ignore for the moment. Come down here, got to remember left-hand drive. Oops. Put chain signal there. Chain signal there. Chain signal there. That can go that way. And just put this in out of curiosity. Oops, it's got to be that side, or else the train won't work. That's the wrong way round. That might be been the reason why. We will do this signal here. Okay, you can come that way. I've got no idea why and then we've got that direction, right? This area can be a no man's land at the moment because we will be laying track out this way. At the moment, the rail constructor in this area doesn't really have anything to do. I need to think about what we're going to do. I'm just very worried about this though. It could be down to the fact that this track isn't electrified. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to hold off on any electrification in this area, because what I most likely will do is upgrade this to concrete track once we get the concrete railway based on. Anyway, we're now on the 6th of January 1936 now, so the first thing we're going to do now, or the next thing we're going to do now, is check our research. No new research there. Of course, there's no new research with respect to our medical research, although I wouldn't mind if we could find the medical. Where's the medical university here? University, please. Where are you? I am moving people into here. Okay, we got any over 21s? We got you, but I think I'd open up. You're already full up. Okay, I think we'll let some over 21s into here, because I don't think we're really getting the workforce out here that we need either. Where is the university then? I thought, there it is, there. Oh, we're certainly going to do a little bit of vaccination, keep them happy, and of course what we're going to do now is go to the technical university. Okay, we're 1936, we've got no research, so that's okay. So we're now kind of in a position where we're going to start needing to push out this way. We've got this harvest here. How are we making any money? Yeah, we're making a little bit of money. Right, I think what I do need to do is come over here and check my, what we call it here. Okay, we got some Mac ACs. What I am going to do is I'm going to put one in here. The reason for that is that we are starting to replace these, and what I want to do is make sure that we don't purchase them. I know we're slowly building up our dollars from the tourism, but at the same time I don't really want to. Well, we got a spare one here, so okay, good. I think what I'd like to do is put these two into here. So let's whack you into there, and we are going to need some combines. I know it's a bit early, but we've got the Stanlitz 9 kilometers an hour. Wow. I think actually I'm going to go for a little bit of extra speed here. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Oops, the game just flipped a little bit there. And the reason I'm doing this is that I've got a tendency to, as you probably, if you follow the way I play, I can get a bit wrapped up in things, and then don't really pay attention, and then suddenly it all kind of blows up on me. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 covered holes. We're gonna have to go for capacity. You're gonna have to. This has got 10 tons. This has got 11 tons. This is faster, so we're going to use the YAG 10s. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 of those. So we got plenty of conveyors. Now you can see here we've now got this set up, but we really need this built now. We've got the warehouses here. So what we'll do is I think to start with, just going to clear this. We're going to do 70%. And this is just from the alcohol, so we'll go, yeah, I think we'll drop that down. Why am I putting crops in here? I'm an idiot, sorry about that. Okay, we're going to do that again. Clear it. We're going to put 20% alcohol, and we'll put the rest as explosives. Is that what I'm trying to do? Is set a reasonable parameter, and we're just going to do exactly the same here, so that we can export any surplus. So again, we'll start with 20 and 80. Because what we can do is use these extra ones here. Maybe we'll go a little bit bigger for the food. So we got here. Have we got any unemployment here? We got a little bit of reconstruction in progress. We got a little bit of unemployment in this area. Yeah, we got 34 workers. When you get to there, and at the moment we're using this as a construction office pickup, so we won't set the bus route up until this is finished. I just want to make sure this guy can get to, yeah, you can get to both alcohol and food, but of course we won't need it to get until we get here. Right, and what we'll do is flip back over to here, and we will, the combines are probably chugging this way somewhere. I think we'll leave that for the moment. We're only on the 12th of January. We don't need to rush this. Right, so we need the rail construction office active here. Just want to see whether the train is on a second run round or whether it's happy. I'm looking at that. I'd say the train is happy at the moment. Yep. Do we have coal in here? Yeah, we got coal. We got water. So we've got that there. Okay. Overflow. Yeah. This needs to go to high priority. I think you'll be in range to see. Yeah. And of course, that's a good hint. The fact that what we've got is this is outside the coverage of this. So what we're going to need is a out here we're going to need some form of waste collection. Actually, we're going to need a waste transfer office, because I certainly don't want trucks going all the way over to there. This is where we're moving into that realm now of kind of thing. And in the short term, this isn't a problem. Okay, this is built as well. Actually, what I haven't done, actually, come to think of it, is set up the fuel distribution. We want the fuel into this as well, so get fuel there. What I most likely will do is put another fuel distribution here. We can pick up fuel from here with trucks, and then what that means is we can pick it up directly from here, and that means we can distribute fuel across here. I don't think. Let me just see. I think what we can do, can we get a small technical office in here? Where's the... It's road, what am I on about? I think at the moment we're just going to shove in a free technical office there. Bring in some waste trucks Let me just see. Bring in. This is going to classify itself as small, isn't it? Okay, we're going to bring in capacity. We need a large container. Okay, we'll bring one in for here. This is just going to be mixed waste. So what we're going to do is just shove you, and I think you can. We can just tell you to drop off here at the moment. Okay, looks like we've got. This needs to be built. Okay, we just find my super duper guys here. You can go there and get you on that, and we'll also get you working on this. Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff to go, but we can get this built. That means we can then work on putting in a proper waste transfer system. But what I'm going to do is wait for the snow to disappear first, and because we still got a lot to build out here, so it's not kind of urgent. What we got here, this is the coal ore, so this will be coal. Let's just store the coal because we got our power station there. Sometime in the future we're going to have to reverse this power connection again, but we need the power station up and running for that. Let me just see what have we got here. Yeah, here comes the fleet. We need fuel in here actually. Messed up that. Was they going to go wandering far and wide to get fuel? Put 40% fuel in there. Yeah, a bit of a mistake there. Have I got fuel in over here? In Milford on Sea. No. You need a fuel delivery. Where's my fuel? So I don't want them running around. Now, of course, the fertility is not going to be a lot of use out here at the moment because we won't have access. We're going to have to import fertilizer and stuff like that. But the first harvest, we're just going to go with the flow and see how it goes. And these guys are going to go off and try and find a fuel gas station. I think the nearest gas station, a raw fire station here. We're going to need a couple of fire trucks. What is our current fire trucks? What's our current default fire truck here? Is the Mets. So I'm going to come in here. There it is. We just have 2 of them, actually 3 of them at the moment in there. Okay, got a free gas station here, so these guys are probably going to go all the way to the gas station. Bit of a mistake there, but we can live with it. The tractors have probably already made the journey, so yeah, so they're happy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay, stop production. Right, the next thing is where is the okay, we nearly emptied this out. What's the cold store? Where? Let's find a gas station. because there's no point having fuel here. Let me just check to make sure that, yeah, you've got access to fuel. So you're up here. It's very inefficient, so what we're going to do is we're going to need a, okay, we've got the space for that now. Okay, right, we need down here a distribution office. How big was that one? There's a 5 slot. I mean, this area is fairly compact. Let me just see again. I seriously doubt we're going to be able to get a, no, we don't have enough space, and we could put you over here, but you'll be out of power range. I think what we're going to have to do is put in a, no, it's not, don't want a demolition office. I want a distribution office. Yeah, if we could get you, oh, what's up with the infrastructure? There's a pipeline underneath, isn't it? You can guarantee it, yeah. Great if I could get it tucked in here, but can we get a road past that substation? Yeah, look at that, great. Right. High priority. High priority. What that would mean is that we'll have a gas fuel distribution here. We have the pickup point here. It's got 199 tons in it. That would be pretty good. I think we'll get the road crew. Yeah, the road crew is working on that. Okay, guys, I'm kind of running out of time on this video. As usual. In fact, I'm in danger of going over time on this, so I'm just going to have a little quick run through. In fact, I think, is there any way we can kind of, let me just see, where's that? This is really on the wrong side. Have we got an output on this side? Got an output there. That's rubbish. I think we're put you there. Get rid of you. And get rid of the pipe here. Okay. Go underground. Oops. Put you there. So what we can do is, so what we'll do is we'll build in this, and that means that we can then kind of ship in the fertilizer from the other end, either with a separate train, or because fertilizer isn't that mission critical, what we could do is, yeah, that's been picked up, so just going to go there, make it high priority, and we're now ready to go. We've now got all this here, and I think I'm just going to, otherwise I'm just going to forget all about it. Capacity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to get that set up. Then of course eventually we'll get all the distribution set up for the actual moving the crops up to where we actually need them. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.